Hi, and welcome back to I've Got Next with myself, Austin, and Smeef Erickson.
Hi.
This week, I'm taking the tiller or wheel, and I'm going to introduce y'all to a little game called Warhammer 40k Firewarrior.
I recognize THQ
This
so far, but the other one's not.
Kuju is an interesting company. They made a little game called Battalion Wars that I loved on the GameCube. Um, but as you can tell by the super serious narration already, this is set in the Warhammer 40k universe.
With discount Jean-Luc Picard.
Exactly. It's like Star Trek if you just lived in the evil alternate world all the time, the mirror dimension.
Oh, so it's constantly under attack by the Klingon.
Exactly. Um,
I'm not a nerd.
so I have a special fondness for Warhammer 40k. I did not grow up with enough money to play the game, but I loved all of this grim, dark goofiness.
Yeah, so it's Warhammer's heavily relying on the figurines, right?
Yeah, you can't really play without it, although people have made like poor hammer versions, which is like use little cardboard cutouts for everything.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, you need the models to play the game, and just instantly into the main menu where no title screen or anything. You just kind of look at some circuit boards and a symbol. Um, but this game I kind of like for a couple of reasons. One, the Imperium of Man, which are the humans and their genetically altered super soldiers. They're portrayed kind of as the bad guys in this, which is refreshing compared to all of the book and lore around the actual game. Um, I should point out that the humans in this are pretty fascist and xenophobic and everything like that, but still somehow are the protagonists of every piece of fiction.
Yeah, I remember in some of the later games, when they came up with a character like Beefy McWellington, they seemed to portray him as the heroes.
Actual character in game. Warhammer is very silly as we play through the tutorial here, which anybody who's familiar with, I would say, Half-Life 1, this engine is very similar. This game controls like butts. I should point that out in the beginning. I do the best I can, but the mouse acceleration is very strange in this, and I could not get it to work. I would also say that damage is very strange in this game as well. Sometimes a single laser shot will do nothing at all and just make the screen flash, and other times you'll be one shot instantly. But here we have a little bit of Tau architecture as we run through the little training regime here.
And you weren't lying about the Half-Life thing, though.
It feels very Half-Life, especially once I start jumping around and you remember what ladders were like in the 90s and 2000s. The whole look up to climb up and look down to climb down.
Yeah, the early Medal of Honor games had that problem. But this, like, the graphics are like just a hair above GoldenEye.
Yeah, which is, this was PlayStation 2. I would also say this is during the time in which Games Workshop, the parent company of Warhammer, didn't really like using their license for a lot of things. They started a couple of real-time strategy games, one that I particularly enjoyed on the PlayStation 1, and then some PC games they kind of made. They made an XCOM-like, which is interesting, but I haven't actually played. And then, there's this game, which came out to, I would say, middling at best reviews.
Yeah. Oh,
I f-
got fart gas in the floor.
it's I don't know what it is. This guy yells at you if you go up there, but Here you can see what the standard Tau Firewarrior, that guy in front, looks like, followed by a Tau Engineer. The
C3PO?
Tau, actually just a Tau, but walks a lot like C3PO. Oh God, ladders! Just
Oh,
go for them. Okay.
that's not even practical.
Now to look down, you just magnetize to ladders in this era of gaming, and sometimes you just can't get off. But the Tau are a caste system, with Fire Warriors kind of being the lowest. They're, as you might have guessed by their name, the fighters and frontline troops of the Tau Empire.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I'm not entirely sure what it is. Oh, is this important?
No, I have to go talk to this guy.
Ah.
Okay, now satisfied. How else would I know to go forward?
You enjoy punishment. But
Oh, I didn't look at this medkit enough. Gotta go back.
so I don't know if it's the animation or if it's how they're doing things differently now, but this definitely, like, I generally don't have a problem with, like, FPS, but this looks like one of those games that would give me the tummy burbles.
It does get like that on occasion, and a lot because of the controls, where you're either not moving at all or doing a complete 360 or 180 when you move the mouse.
Yeah, just like the motion in this is bad for the eyes. I'm guessing this is the shooting range.
Oh yeah. Here you have your basic Tau weapons. The Tau in the game, the board game / tabletop game, are masters of long range. All of their stuff is like, how far away can you hit the enemy? You really, really are not great at melee. There's a couple of really good bits of Tau lore where they actually kind of go over their weaknesses by hiring out mercenaries like the Kroot, which are like chicken dinosaurs, one of my favorites. But I bring that up to say, in this game, most of the guns suck. You very quickly pick up Imperial Guard weapons, and then yeah, and it's not until much later in the game that you actually pick up super useful
It's like
Tau.
if Minecraft had Nerf weapons.
Yes, it's very, it feels very Minecrafty, but controls worse. Now I'm
It's
just
just very,
going through.
very square. The night vision?
Yeah. Oh, I should point out, I'm playing on easy first of all, because there's no reason to play this on any difficulty higher than that. This game has auto aim, which I would say is incredibly needed.
He seems to be in a hurry.
Yeah. I will point out that I enjoy first-person shooters. This is me trying my goddamn hardest to hit this piece of shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was noticing, I figured the running was trying to teach you how to lead a shot. But it's kind of hard when the bullets travel like 1 foot per second.
Yeah, and you have your main fire. Usually every weapon has a main fire and a secondary fire. Your standard rifle here has the full auto and then a kind of long-range, super accurate shot.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one is really useful. Now, just looking at more architecture. Also, yeah, you see how quickly you turn and move, except for when you're trying to hit stuff, and then it's like...
Yeah.
Your little SMG / grenade launcher here does not really do a lot more damage than the normal rifle, but it does have the ability to launch grenades instead of throwing them, like so.
Who was so bad that they were firing at the ceiling?
That's your standard throw animation. It's, shall we say, a little difficult to aim.
Explosions don't look bad.
No, I mean, there's a lot to like about this game. I kind of live in the idea that a 6 out of 10 game can sometimes be much more interesting than your AAAs and your your kind of classic games, just because they tend to go a little harder or explore crazy ideas.
Yeah, I mean it's one thing if like so I get what you're saying. Like there are some certain instances when a game could be just so bad that it's kind of makes a turnaround and becomes enjoyable.
Yeah.
But then there's like there's just games that are just bad and just really not enjoyable at all. Like I'm trying to think. It had like absolutely like ass controls. Although probably in recent years, probably the game that I regret the most spending money on was Alpha Protocol.
Oh man, I wanted to like that so much. I was ready for a Mass Effect but spy game.
Yeah, well, I mean, because it was like like, oh man, you're a merc and a undercover spy and all that, but then the whole thing just became a get laid simulator.
So I'll put these up in a little bit more clarity or by themselves later. But basically, this is just like, hey, information about the Tau and the Tau world.
Okay, and they put it in a dedicated room.
Yeah. And I go through there. That's why there was a little cut there. So here we've reached the end of the tutorial, and you actually get to kind of see where the first level of the game is going to start here.
It looks like a puma.
Didn't I just tell you to quit making up animals? Accuracy, 35%. I wouldn't expect too much higher than that for the rest of the game.
Yeah, the
title drop.
Okay, nice cinematics. And I noticed earlier when it kind of did a galaxy shot, which was surprisingly accurate considering what we know now.
There was a bit of an interesting thing, which I'll go into after this little cutscene here. But one thing I will point out, the music in this is very interesting. It was written by the guy who did a lot of the Nokia ringtone music.
Well, that's... Huh. Yeah, I don't got it nothing for that one. I just... That's information.
And here we go. Believe it or not, heavily armored warriors killing civilians actually are the protagonists of the lore.
Oh my.
Governor Severus, we have captured the leader as ordered. We are
Snape?
preparing to withdraw.
Acknowledged, Sergeant.
It sounds like Snape.
Leave no witnesses.
As you wish,
Oh.
Governor.
If only we could have an Alan Rickman in here.
All brethren,
That would be amazing. I don't want to spoil it, but no, it's not Alan Rickman.
one, Brother Sergeant. No witnesses.
So when did this come out compared to the Fallout series?
So, a generation before Fallout 3, post Fallout 1 and 2, and Tactics and Brotherhood of Steel.
Yeah. I was mostly looking at the power armor.
So, originally, I think the Space Marines come out first. 'Cause I think they were 80s
Okay.
when the first kind of time you see them is in a RPG/tabletop role-playing game called Rogue Trader, which has been remade and is actually really, really cool now. But every Fire Warrior kind of just sucks and is a private until they go through their test, the under fire test.
Yeah. Okay, so you're playing the alien race here.
Yes, the Tau. Interesting things about the Tau is the way they are birds, basically, and they're basically like, hey, what if birds evolved? So you have, when the Imperium first met them, they were playing with rocks and sticks, and they were like, well, these guys aren't even worth exterminating. And then what they call warp storm, which is like, what if if hell opened up a storm in space, but the Tau have no psychic sensitivity at all, so they just don't detect chaos or, and aren't really affected by it. Now, the lore kind of differs on why they're not affected. Sometimes they say, like, the gods of chaos just don't see them.
Yeah.
But so they just evolved in relative peace and prosperity in this horrific universe and have become technologically super advanced, but they actually don't travel through the warp, which is what humans do. So they kind of expand very, very slowly and are now kind of powerful enough that the humans can't really kill them off.
Ah, okay.
So here we have our D-Day landing, which, to be fair, this isn't bad for PS2.
No, not by any means. Especially considering as many things as are going on screen right now.
Yeah.
The Tau in this, the character design kind of reminds me of the aliens from the 1990 movie Space Invaders.
Ooh, I don't know that one. You see, I immediately pick up a las weapon.
No, yeah. Oh, and it seems to work better.
It works incredibly well, which kind of sucks with the lore of the Tau.
Yeah.
But oh my god, it's so hard to aim. Okay.
Also, the muzzle flash doesn't help. It like takes up half the screen.
I do love how heavily this game starts you off with like allies fighting with you. These are Imperial Guard, and I would say there's some debate on what type of Imperial Guard they are. They seem to be Armageddon troopers, which are just... It doesn't matter to anyone but me who likes Warhammer, but we get this nice little intro of, I would say, unfortunately, kind of a boring level design, except for a few bits.
Wow, that just appeared.
Yes. We have a wrecked Lehman Russ tank here with the nice little livery on it. Just aim. Please, for the love of God. Okay.
It's definitely got a World War II vibe with like trench warfare and whatnot.
Yes.
Although,
and I would say, go ahead.
I was just saying, although you're fighting in the trenches, not over them.
Yeah, I would say in that same way that George Lucas likes World War II dogfighting, which is why Star Wars ships have to fight like on top of each other. Warhammer 40k loves World War I/World War II. You may think this was an important thing that just happened. This guy that came out with the little box around him. Pay no attention. It doesn't matter. It was 2 seconds to like kill that courier, and doesn't matter.
Oh. Oh. Back to the sad gun.
Yeah. Well, it is have a slightly longer range than the las rifle.
Yeah, like up close it seems to do fine, but it's just especially if you're trying to lead your shots, the bullets just move obscenely slow.
Yeah, very much so. Enemies do kind of just spawn. They don't continually spawn, but they do spawn behind you in places like that. You can see in the top right, you have your shield, which is the flashy red thing, and then your health, which is the line underneath the gun there. Oh, this is the Imperial Guard Commissar. He is the embodiment of, I'm going to swing this weapon, and then if you get hit by it, it's your fault.
Seems that way.
He's using the chain sword and las pistol there.
So basically, as long as you don't go in the door, you're fine.
Yeah, the las pistol doesn't do a whole lot, but you see the white line across the screen there. That was me getting hit with melee. Lost half my health there, so. But thankfully, health is pretty plentiful. But you do die at just the randomest times, where you're just like, well, I got hit by a single shot, and all my shield and health is gone.
Yeah. Is this one of those games where like melee weapons are just like completely broken?
I will say everyone's melee weapon except yours is completely broken.
Seems fair.
Which you have a little combat knife that hopefully I'll never have to use. Your kind of best practice here is to aim slightly for the head and just kind of drag the crosshair across them by moving.
Yeah. I'm noticing. So the Imperials, is that who you're fighting? You said.
Yeah.
That's a very Third Reich-esque looking symbol there.
Yes. They pull a lot from Rome, which I guess to be fair, the Third Reich did as well. But so there's a lot of Aquilas. There's a lot of Latin in there, common speech. Commander Severus, and they have Tempestus Scions and things like that. That's a cool shot.
Mm-hmm.
Just this ladder. This ladder's the worst.
Yeah. Do bullet holes stay where you put them?
Not for very long, and neither do the bodies, but they do stay, which is I think is a nice touch. Mm-hmm. Looking at this little sentinel here, which is your Imperial Guard kind of support platform there, weapons platform.
Yeah, that
like
an
an AT-AT, but one person.
I was going to say Ed 209.
Oh, yeah, that too. ATS2, sorry. Come on, just... the Brave Tower Firewarrior also happens to get stuck on geometry quite a bit. It's not a game from the 90s/2000s without a turret section.
Yeah. Also, I like the fact that you differentiated between the ATTs and the ATSTs to prevent the 5 people that would call you out on it.
Yeah. I don't know if we're far enough away from the Empire Strikes Back that we can safely confuse those again. Buttons, sometimes difficult.
Oh, is it? Especially when they put a table in front of it and you... Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have to
Everything
jump on
is
it
like
and crouch.
Yeah, everything you're like Velcro, and everything has little hooks on it. Because anytime you get near geometry, your character does not want to move; it wants to stick. So I would recommend no one play this game. But yeah.
I mean, and it's unfortunate that it would have just mechanics, because it, like, this does look like something that would have been fun back in the day.
I've heard that the PS2 version does not play as badly. It kind of gets a little optimized for consoles.
Yeah, but my thing is if I'm doing FPS, it has to be mouse and keyboard, because I don't have the thumb dexterity to be a sufficient player.
Mouse and keyboard will avail you not here.
Is there a cover system, or is it just stand behind something?
No, pretty much just stand behind something. There you see I got hit once or twice, and my shield is almost completely erased. I will say the NPC allies you get vary from just bullet sponges to actually manage to kill bad guys, which I find fascinating.
Yeah. Now, is it doing dice roll damage?
So I think it might be doing slightly randomized damage. So sometimes you'll get hit and nothing will happen, and sometimes you get hit and it's like, hey, you got to take cover immediately. So I don't know that it's exactly a dice roll, but I think it might be randomized. But it seems like it's randomized for the enemies as well, in that you can get a headshot and sometimes just insta-kill them, and then sometimes a body shot insta-kills. Oh, that's a lot of dudes. Completely overshot that grenade. I like watching their heads because sometimes they don't, and I'm like, oh god, I gotta go away from this guy.
He's holding a weapon in his other hand.
He's got the little pistol that he'll plink at you every once in a while.
Yeah, he comes out for Queen and Country.
That's exactly it. Oh, so there was, so Warhammer used to be really, really goofy. It has become more grimdark now, but there was a character who was basically like an Imperial Guard High Inquisitor, and it was Obi-Wan Poirot. Oh, I can't remember his last name. Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can imagine, they just took their three cool characters that they liked, Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Yeah.
Poirot, and Sherlock Holmes, and just made them into an investigator in this world.
Weird.
Very much so.
This area is still full of hostiles.
Like,
Find the extraction point as fast as you can.
like putting all three of those together just sound like someone who would be really annoying to talk to.
I know almost nothing about it because this is lore from way back in the day that doesn't really exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes me laugh. I have a game planned for later on in this series where we try and figure out. I will read you a list of names, and you tell me if this person is a good guy or a bad guy in this world, relatively
Alright.
speaking. Thankfully, this trench section does not last any further than these first two chapters.
Yeah. Oh, so you can hear the enemy comes. Have we always been able to hear their screams, or is that just now a thing happening?
They are very, very talkative when you get close.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah. So there's an interesting texture on the walls every once in a while, and it reminds me a little Tim Burton-y, which I don't know if it's supposed to be like trench ladders, but it kind of reminds me of like it looks like stitches in the walls of the trench. There
Okay.
you can see it just behind that guy there.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Turret section. Every level has a secret task to complete. I will not be doing all of those because some of them are dumb.
Demolition specialist is on his way.
Thanks, Tau. This guy, a little bulkier, got some explosives on him.
Oh. And
Well,
is it in
time for my break.
now? Does that race have tank characters?
As far as like just
Ooh.
heavy duty, yeah, look at that. That's
Bullet
great.
sponges.
Not particular. They get specialized units. Like they have stealth suits that some of their infiltrators wear, and they're a little bit bulky. And then they just go full Gundam later on. So
Okay.
imagine this grimdark world, and then a Gundam wing itself. Like it's actually just kind of a lot based off Gundam Wing, in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this giant mech with chain gun arms comes down with missile pods. So we have to find what soldier carries the key, and it's always these guys.
Oh. Well, he tried.
Yeah.
He went pew pew.
I'm a little sad we don't get the chainsword.
Yeah. I could see that being a fun one. I mean, hell, they've had that. They've had the since Doom.
Yeah. Oh no, close quarters combat.
Oh, that shut the door behind you?
Yeah. But thankfully,
He still doesn't seem
all
too
my
interested in getting close to you.
yeah, and my shield ran out just as soon as I got him. Also, the Imperial Guard, and just the Imperium in general, is kind of like that Mitchell and Webb sketch of just like, are we the baddies? We're just at some point, they should ask.
My favorite relation to that quote would have to be Zangief in a Street Fighter movie. Bison is bad guy.
Yep. Worker in Salvation.
Propaganda.
Yeah. They're big on that in the Imperium. The Tau also, but in more of a... so originally the Tau were thought of to be really the only good guys in this world. They were a caste system, and yeah, they kind of had lower class and upper class. But for the most part, they worked for what they call the greater good and peace.
The greater good?
It has... Yeah, exactly. It has since kind of been retconned to where supposedly their leaders have pheromone-like control chips, and they just mind control everyone. Theoretically, like one of their big generals is possibly... Oh, I'm gonna rope-a-dope this guy here in a second, but supposedly one of their generals is now maybe possessed by a chaos demon and is going to just like started sacrificing any of the lesser races, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But I noticed an interesting thing about the pathing AI in this. It goes to points. So now he's going to go all the way back around. Now he's going to come back around to this side, even if I like come up and chase behind him.
Yeah. I also noticed the AI on this, the AI, at least for him, is kind of shit because he'll start swinging at you from across the room.
Oh, yeah. They I don't know if they just couldn't program melee attacks, but it's just, I'm going to start swinging and walk at you here.
Yeah, it's like they, I don't know if they just like coded it to attack because he'll occasionally use his sidearm, but it's mostly he's just swinging at the air.
So,
door open?
well, yeah, I missed this little tiny box over here, which is a button.
Elevator.
Yes. I have not tested to see if elevator will kill you if you stand under it like Unreal Tournament and all those old shooters back in the day.
Yeah, would they consider that depends. Can you take a impact damage?
So there does seem to be fall damage, but I don't know that it comes up too many times. Alright, we have reached the end of the trenches and our first boss battle.
Ooh.
Oh. Yep, I guess I'll just stand here. Yep. I could warn that guy. He's doing a little dance.
I do like the vehicles in this.
Oh yeah, the Tau have some very interesting vehicles. The Orca dropship there, some of their tanks and things like that. This is just a machine gun. I mean, the Imperial Guard use slug throwers sometimes, but this is just like an M60.
No, there he goes. He's just like I don't know if he's trying to present to you or intimidate you.
What also sucks about this gun is it's really good. Alright.
Well, bullets have been proven to be effective at making people less alive.
True. Also, key cards used to access laser grids. Sometimes keys take a little while to drop from bodies.
Oh, are they random drops?
No, they always drop from the commissars, but sometimes the body has to completely fade away before you can pick it up. This area of like water purification or power plant or whatever it is kind of a nice change.
All right, guy. Don't have it up. Just go ahead and die.
Some of them, man, they'll play and grab their throats and just do a full Hamlet death scene.
Just falling over. Et tu, Brute?
Yep. Heresy grows from idleness.
Are there any explodey barrels?
There are. All barrels do explode, which is nice, as it should be. Oh no.
Can also backfire.
Oh yeah, very much. Including like there are random explosions in the trench sections, which are, you know, like artillery going off and things like that. And those can actually trigger barrels if you're standing near them, so you can really hurt yourself.
You had to find the magenta key?
Yes. We're all about primary colors here. HP runs the future.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of games do it, but find the key thing is I don't know, like, I've always had a problem with that, because why would it in a base full of people, why would it only be on one person?
Yeah. As you may gather, this looks remarkably a lot like a boss arena. And so the boss is this here Valkyrie gunship. I asked my buddy, who is more of an expert in Warhammer than I am, and just like, what are the odds of a single Firewarrior being able to take on... yeah, look at that. No, I still had full shields. It just bypasses everything.
Okay, so this is a run and hide?
No, you just go toe to toe with it. But so you have your gunship here and the Fire Warrior, and basically Warhammer is broken down into turns, and each turn is like you go, I go.
Yeah.
And to take one of these down, the gunship would have to be in melee range, basically, because, you know, the person playing it would have to act really dumb. And it would still take like 7 turns. So 2 turns past where the game would end to actually make that happen.
Yeah. But so first time you went down was like insta-death, and then second time it was, well, less of an explosion and more of a, he just went up in a poof.
Yeah, just tiny tickle gun that time.
Yeah.
I do think some of the rockets... What's that?
I was gonna say, I do like that Norse mythology exists in this world.
Oh yes, very much so. There is a entire Space Marine chapter called the Space Wolves, and they are just Vikings.
Nice.
They're all Norse warriors, blonde braids, and giant wolves. So that is the first episode for this, the Fire Warrior game. I'm glad I finally get to show someone else this, because I think I'm the only one that bought a copy.
I'm liking it. I can't wait to see more of it.
Our first mission was impressive. We have great hopes for you.